I even told her that this is our retirement money. She knows that we need this money.
Several more people are accusing a California businesswoman of misusing their money, and what they are claiming in a lawsuit is a Ponzi scheme.
A victim of a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme allegedly orchestrated by Maria Dickerson, also known as Dulce Pino.
I mean, like I told my wife, we're back at square one.
It's not only the money, it's she demoralized all of us.
In this video today, we're going to be talking about Maria Dickerson, an alleged scammer that pretty much mastered the art of ripping people off. This lady just didn't stop at your average con. She scammed people from her own community, drained people's life savings, and destroying people's dreams, all with a smile. We're talking about fake investments, broken promises, and a whole lot of manipulation. Let's get into it.
At the very beginning, I was blinded.
It all started with Maria Dickerson's company, Creative Legal Fundings.
My friend told me about this investment company that gives 10% each month if you invest. That's when everyone in our group was like, oh, why is it late? Why is it late? Is it yours late? Because you're supposed to get it every 10 business days of the month.
Bartleson said Dickerson assured her things were okay.
And she said, you guys are fine. You're my friends. I'm still going to give you your... because she knows we're building a house in the Philippines. So we're still good.
All right, first up, Maria pulls the oldest trick in the book here, pretending to be all understanding and supportive about her victims' dreams. She knows that these people are pouring their life savings into a dream home, something they've been working for decades. And she uses information to keep them calm and invested. There's something particularly disgusting about how she's not just taking money, but she's exploiting people's deepest aspirations. It's like she's saying, hey, keep trusting me because I know what's at stake. I know what's important. But the reality is that she is fully aware of the damage that she's causing. This isn't just a random comm job. It's personal, emotional manipulation at its finest. She uses her knowledge of their plans to string them along, playing the trustworthy friend role right until everything collapses. A house isn't just bricks and wood. It's a symbol of stability and an investment, long-term investment. And Maria's comfortable taking that from people right from underneath them. It's cold.
She only got back about a quarter of her investment, but tens of thousands of dollars still nowhere to be found. Devastating news to this military family.
I even told her that this is our retirement money. And she knows my husband is retiring from the Navy in July. She knows that we need this money.
And this one just hits a whole different level. Retirement money is sacred ground. It's cash that people need to survive because they're not working anymore. She knew that, and she kept going, fully aware of the impact of her victims' futures. When you're talking about retirement funds, you're talking about robbing people of their security, their peace of mind, their final years of comfort. It's more than just financial. It's erasing decades of hard work and saving. And what's worse, she probably made them feel safe, convinced them that this was a smart move. She didn't just steal their money, she stole their plans, their sense of control over the future, robbing people of the life they thought they would get to enjoy after a lifetime of labor.
Many investors told me she used her Filipino culture to befriend them. Most of the victims in this case are of Filipino descent. The lawsuit alleges Dickerson used that to her advantage.
She absolutely used the culture for sure because she speaks Tagalog, which is the language of the Philippines, or at least the main language of the Philippines. She attended all these Filipino events where Filipinos gather of all types.
This is what we have to deal with in our community, especially those in the Black and brown communities. The wolf in sheep's clothing. Maria walked into the community and exploited the shared trust that comes with having a common background. These were people who probably feel safer investing with her because she got it, understood their culture, their struggles, their stories. She knew exactly what buttons to press to gain their trust, blending into Filipino events, using her native language to create this comfortable facade. When you scam someone from your own community, it's a whole new level of low. Because this is not necessarily a stranger ripping them off. She was someone who created herself as one of them, creating a false sense of security. She weaponized her culture against them.
Lawsuit. The people would give money to the company that invested in accident attorneys financing law firm activities. Plaintiffs would get 10% return on investment. Her attorney explained how the supposed business worked.
These accident attorneys would need money to fund their own lawsuits and would, I guess, pay a rate of return back to her company. She would in turn pay 10% per month to each plaintiff.
The second lawsuit filed in Washington state has more than 40 people alleging fraud and misrepresentation by Dickerson.
I don't believe there's any legitimate business I don't think there's such a thing as investing in accident attorneys and getting a rate of return of 10%.
If this wasn't tragic, it'll be comical. Investing in accidental attorneys and expecting a 10% return, this is financial nonsense that sounds more like something that came out of a bad infomercial. The fact that Maria convinced people to buy into this bizarre pitch shows her skills as a manipulator, but it also shows the lack of knowledge from the people who are investing money. If you are an investor, you need to spend a lot of money researching what you are investing in. If many of these people did that, they may have not invested in the first place. Maria created the elaborate story that made zero logical sense, but she wrapped it up in enough pseudo-legitimacy that her victims believe it. She took advantage of people's lack of financial knowledge and twisted it into this fictional business model. The 10% per month rate of return should have been an instant red flag. But she had people so deep into her web that they ignored all common sense. It's not just about lying, it's about creating a narrative, a world so convincing that her victims accepted it without any question. It's almost impressive in a very disturbing kind of way. When you think about it, that's how cults are created and strengthened. Things that don't make a lot of sense for us on the outside make perfect sense to the people who are being led.
They showed me their contract, which shows their $200,000 investment in August 2022 through the Smith family business. The Smiths said in total they received more than half their investment back, but stopped getting any money back this year. They said because of that, they lost their Florida home and now live in an RV with their children.
We just lost everything. Like it's the dream. I mean, I feel like we failed as a parent.
It's just pure evilness. It's pure greed. She doesn't care what she's doing to people or their families.
And this is where you see the raw damage that's left when a scammer takes over and takes everything. When victims feel like they've failed, you know it's gone just beyond money. Maria left these people questioning their entire sense of self-worth. Losing your financial stability is brutal, but having it affect your identity as a parent is pretty devastating. For many parents, providing a safe, secure environment is the whole idea of our purpose. Maria didn't just wipe out their entire bank account. She shattered their belief that they were doing right by their kids. It's like she hit them at the core of who they are. Pure evilness is not just a hyperbolic statement. It's pretty accurate. Her actions left families broken and wondering if they failed the very people that they cared about the most. So the psychological toll on this is unimaginable. She just didn't con people. She destroyed people's lives. But finally, despite all this, we finally get some good news.
Investors accused her of running a Ponzi scheme. Now she faces criminal charges. The indictment does say Dickerson's deceit started around December 2020. Since that time, more than 140 people invested more than $10 million with Dickerson and lost more than $4 million during the course of this scheme. A federal grand jury returned a 32-count indictment against her. She faces multiple counts of wire fraud, money laundering, and 1 count of securities fraud. Federal prosecutors say she used investors' money to pay for a lavish lifestyle that included high-end shopping, gambling, luxury vehicles, and extensive travel. Dickerson is currently in custody with no bail.
All right, so now we get into the arrest itself. And honestly, just hearing the words a multi-million-dollar Ponzi scheme allegedly orchestrated by Maria Dickerson, it just makes me shake my head just thinking about this whole situation. 32 counts, 24 counts of wire fraud, 1 for securities fraud, and 7 for money laundering. This was Hall of Fame scam artist level. This woman wasn't just running some back alley con. This was a full-blown operation. She allegedly stole $7 million from over 140 people. $7 million. That's a ridiculous amount of money to steal from anyone, let alone people in your own community, people who have worked hard for their money, and you took it. It's crazy. And obviously, what did she do all this money? She was out there living her best life, luxury cars, shopping sprees, lavish trips, the works, while her victims were left scrambling, losing their homes, burning through retirement savings, and watching their families suffer. This wasn't just financial theft, this was human devastation on a massive scale. She was literally living up on the hard-earned money people who trusted her, people who thought they were making safe investments to secure their futures. She essentially saw their dreams as her meal ticket.
When I contacted Dickerson's attorney, he told me some of the investors did receive their investment back. In a statement, he said many investors got well in excess of their original investment and reaped huge profits. He did not specifically comment on the people I interviewed.
The federal court in Sacramento has ordered Dickerson to remain in detention despite her attorney Mark Rico's arguments that she is not a flight risk and had already surrendered a pair of vehicles as well as her family home as restitution before the charges.
And of course, as a scam artist, she tries to dodge the whole thing. Her attorney argued that she wasn't a flight risk and she already gave up some luxury assets as restitution. But let's get real here. Turning over a couple of cars does not erase the fact that she allegedly manipulated and devastated over 140 lives. It's absurd. The cars she gave up, those that brought with other people's cash, it's not like she's making a generous sacrifice. She's just giving back a tiny piece of what she stole in the first place. Now, obviously, there's some relief there, but these victims aren't necessarily happy. They're just glad that she's no longer roaming around, finding new people to steal from. When you've been victimized by someone like Maria, there's no real closure. Sure, she's off the streets for now, but the victims are still dealing with the fallout, still having to rebuild their lives shattered by her greed. She may have lived large, enjoying luxury and indulgence, but now at least she's not out there causing more pain. It's a temporary breather for the victims, a small comfort knowing that she's contained even if their lives will never be quite the same. And of course, it's always the responsibility of the person giving that kind of money to someone. You need to research. You need to know exactly what the hell they're talking about when they come with you with these grand plans on how to make so much money in a quick time. Scammers are bad, but a lack of financial understanding, a lack of financial knowledge is worse. When you don't know what you're doing and someone can just convince you to invest in something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, you are the one that gets caught holding the bag because that bag will be empty after the scammer runs away with your money. If you are interested in investing, do your research. And just because someone comes from the same background as you or have the same skin color as you or whatever, doesn't mean you need to necessarily trust them. Don't have someone use their identity as a weapon to take money from you. That would be my lesson. What do you guys think about this story? Let me know. Put in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video.